Cage Nation, it's Kevin Jackwitz here, and this is the Cage Review. So I want to do a review for Monday Night Raw, and I'm gonna make sure I got the date right on this. So it was January 29th, 2018. So I was really excited after the Royal Rumble because I did love the Royal Rumble, and I don't really say that about too much of anything WWE puts out nowadays. Honestly, for the last decade, I think virtually everything they've done has been a huge disappointment. There have been exceptions, of course, but I was very, very happy with the Royal Rumble. I liked the outcomes. I think they got people that were deserving to win the Royal Rumbles. Some of the great spots in the Brock Lesnar, Kane, Braun Strowman match specifically, like every match was good here, and not necessarily great, but good. And they did a lot of things right. So heading into Monday Night Raw, I was honestly very apprehensive. I really was. I thought that this was going to be just another garbage show because Raw has been absolute garbage for quite a while. But I was wrong this time. I was very pleasantly surprised. So you start off with Stephanie McMahon, and of course she's the whole reason for the women's revolution, right? She didn't even think about the women's revolution until AJ had put a post on Twitter. Thank you, AJ. So Asuka comes out, of course, and they have the best use of a promo they can get with Asuka. I mean, it is unfortunately a problem with her connecting with the fans because she doesn't speak a whole lot of English. So there is going to be a disconnect, and I do worry about that with Asuka, but she is phenomenal in the ring. So, that's kind of a give and take there, I guess. So Stephanie, she introduces the winner of the Royal Rumble, which of course is Asuka, and they do the bit with nobody's ready for Asuka, and then Sasha Banks comes down and says, I'm ready for Asuka. I went the whole distance at the Royal Rumble. And so they set up a match for Sasha Banks and Asuka later in the match. Okay. That's kind of cool. I really doesn't set up for anything, but you kind of figure it's going to be a good match later in the show. Then they come out with the first actual match, which is Braun Strowman versus Kane. Okay, so this is right after the Royal Rumble. You're going to get closure between this match with Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, and Kane. But I love the fact that the matches have stakes this time, which is most of the matches tonight are qualifying matches for the upcoming Elimination Chamber match, pay-per-view. And they need to do more of that. Like, they really do. They need to do more things like this. So I think it's great that there's some stakes in this match, not just, closing out a storyline or whatever. And so Braun Strowman and Kane are going at it. Braun Strowman, of course, goes crazy, lifts up not only the announcer's desk, but the whole platform that the desk is on, and rolls it over on Kane. I think it's a last man standing match. And so Braun Strowman wins. And now he is in the Elimination Chamber. Okay, so this is good. Next match is Matt Hardy versus Elias. They kind of go straight from one match to the other. I don't think there were any segments in between. And this also is an Elimination Chamber match. And once again, they're burying Matt Hardy. I don't get it. This is the one thing about WD right now I cannot stand. It doesn't make sense to me. It honestly pisses me off because Matt Hardy with this gimmick has been so damn good. He really has. And since they started this Woken gimmick in WWE, it has been completely lackluster. They have not pushed him at all. He's not getting over because WWE doesn't know what they're doing with him. They don't know what to do with this character. And so that's very, very unfortunate for me. So yeah, Elias wins, and he's going to the Elimination Chamber too. So now we know that Braun Strowman and Elias are in the Elimination Chamber. Next match, Roman Reigns, using his rematch clause, so they're closing up a storyline here, which is useful. He's going up against The Miz, and it's going to be the typical thing between The Miz and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is going to beat his ass most of the match, and then The Miz Taraj is going to get involved somehow or another, and Miz is going to come out with the win, which is exactly what happened. But it was good, you know, they did a couple of pretty good angles with The Miz Taraj, and at least tried to make it somewhat believable. So, not a great match, but I do like the fact that they are closing up storylines and starting new storylines and actually thinking about it like that instead of having just who cares matches. I think this Raw did a lot better with doing that, closing up and then starting new. Very, very cool with that. But having said that, you go into the Revival and Heath Slater versus Rhino, which this is the one match where I don't think I was really invested in at all. I'm not really big on Heath Slater and Rhino. And the Revival, I mean, since they've already been beaten, they come back, they do this squash match against a couple of nobodies, and then they get squashed. So how can you really care? But the Revival come out with the win. Okay. Sasha Banks does an interview backstage where she's talking about, you know, her endurance in the Royal Rumble, and she's going to beat Asuka. She's going to make history by beating Asuka for the first time. And that leads directly into the Sasha Banks Asuka match, which was very, very good. Sasha Banks is, I don't know, she's kind of a conundrum for me because there are times where she can be a little bit dangerous, and you see that in this match. She takes a nasty header. But she is also a really great performer in that ring. Like, she can go, and she's got a good moveset, and she tries to expand and learn, and she's definitely a student of the game, you can tell. And she was taking some pretty big shots from Asuka too, and trying to lay out some big ones as well. So I give Sasha Banks all the credit in the world. There were a couple of spots in this match, one where Sasha Banks is going for a suicide dive, and Asuka is going to kick her in the head as she's coming out, and Sasha just gets halfway out of the ropes and just head straight down into the apron, and it looked pretty rough, honestly. Like, I was surprised she got up from it. Like, she looked like a chalk outline for a couple of minutes there. And honestly, Asuka, a couple of minutes later, took a nasty spill. She was running from one side of the ring to the other while Sasha Banks was on the apron. Sasha Banks pulls the ropes down, and Asuka goes between the middle and top rope and smacks her back on the apron and takes a pretty nasty spill herself. So there were some pretty scary moments in this match, honestly. And then there was some shots that Asuka delivered that were stiff, really stiff. And at the end, Asuka does pull out the win, so that was cool. They're doing the right things, and they, of course, have to build up Asuka as this complete badass. So it looks like Asuka's going to be heading into WrestleMania undefeated against whoever she's fighting. You'd have to assume Alexa Bliss, but you just don't know. And then the Bar. They just won the Tag Team Championships, and Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews have had wins over him in the past couple of weeks, so it kind of makes sense that now Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews go up against the Bar for the titles tonight. I think that was a pretty good setup too. So the match all around was decent. Apollo Crews has got crazy athleticism, At the end, the Bar pull out the win like they should have. So, definitely not hating anything that I saw on Raw. And then the last match was Finn Balor versus John Cena. This is another Elimination Chamber qualifying match. And the match was decent. I mean, Finn Balor definitely held his own. John Cena did his John Cena thing. My biggest problem with this was the finish, which was they gave John Cena a clean win over Finn Balor, and Finn Balor just seems to be taking so many losses since he come to WWE's main roster. Like, he gets a little bit of attention, and then he just back down into the upper mid cards. I think John Cena at this point in his career doesn't need the win. It's not like he's going on to Elimination Chamber to win. He's not going to fight for the title. So I don't see why they would give John Cena the clean win over Finn Balor. Finn needs it a hell of a lot more than Cena does. So I was not a fan of the ending. But despite that, overall it was a really good show for me. It wasn't as good as the Royal Rumble, but at least this time they tried to have some consequences for the matches. They were thinking about the storylines. And this is something that has been sorely missed on Raw. So I think that, this is what I think people want to see. This is why we've been complaining, because they just throw together matches and there's nothing to it. It's literally something just sporadic for the night, and the next week it's something completely different, and there's no investment into anything. So, this is a step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if I was to give it anything out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10. Decent matches. I didn't like a couple of the wins. I really didn't like the fact that Matt Hardy and Finn Balor took the L. But, I don't control the show. I'm just a fan, and that's the thing is, I have to remember that I am just a fan. But as a fan, I think there's certain things that we expect from a product and things that we haven't been getting. And maybe this is, like I said, a step in the right direction. So that's my thoughts on it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you like the review, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz with the Cage Nation. Cage Nation out.